Oh, he done.
I have time for like one or two.
You guys want to talk?
I can remember stuff.
I've got time for one or two.
I want
questions.
Alex to come up here for a minute. Come on, Alex.
Talk about the beginning of the labs. The history of the labs.
Come on.
We want Alex. Alex.
Yeah.
Alex.
No comprende.
Yeah, let's put you okay.
So,
Take a
yeah.
on because we have all our friends together.
I honestly think they were brilliant. And I
They
feel
were
like
honest,
ever
yeah.
since then, you're living with this, this half-truth that, in order to get by and not make some kind of trouble, you
Right.
will say or do something and you'll walk away from something.
right. Yeah, I mean,
Back then it was like lightning. Somebody
Right.
did something wrong and the lightning came
Right, it's struck,
It
right.
was gratifying.
Yeah, but we also have to, like,
Yeah.
we're civilized, right? And we have to, like,
We're civilized.
at some point we have to, like, what you're saying is that there's, like, an honesty to violence, right? And like you're saying, like, if you did some crazy thing and said, oh, I'm an attorney, so you can't touch me, and then X head just goes, yeah, bang, and, like, hits you, yeah, there's an honest, quick justice. But, when that stuff is aggrandized and is supported to a great degree, then sometimes you get this sort of chaos that, I think could be avoided a lot of the times. Now, for me, like, a lot of times, instead of resorting to violence, I'll just be, I'll just say, like, oh, I'll ignore the person totally or whatever, and I don't have to, like, scuff up my nails, and I don't have to, I don't know, have my brother jump on him and grab his head and bang his head against the ground, and then feel like, I got blood all over my hands, it's kind of messy, right? Violence can be messy, as as we all know, right? So,
I think a lot of us
Right.
came out of less than
Violence?
perfect situations and
What do
we're
I know about
processing
violence?
as best
I'm
we
completely
could.
clean.
right,
And
right.
in some cases, some of us came out of violent homes. So
Yeah.
we were processing the way we knew.
Right,
I got
Yeah.
into yoga so that I could better process
this stuff.
the
Yeah, there's a guy who wrote a whole book about, his name's Jocko Willink. I don't know if you guys have heard of him. He's a Navy SEAL guy, Master Chief now. And Jocko Willink wrote a book called, like, The Justification of Violence. And so what he talked about was there are some cases where, it is perhaps necessary. It's talking about people shielding. It's like, imagine if one of the things he said was, imagine shielding somebody, your neighbor shields himself against U.S. forces with your daughter. That's what they're dealing with there. So in those cases, these people, and knowing that daughter's then going to be taken away to this tribe or whatever as like a prisoner, basically, so he was saying that, in some cases perhaps it's not always wrong. If they have, what he was saying is, we have snipers that can actually take this person out with, knowing that for sure that person will just die instantly. And he was saying that, in those cases, maybe it's a little more justified because it's going to prevent this innocent girl from being, mistreated for the rest of her life, basically, according to our lenses, right? So that was an interesting thing. And so what we were processing was broken homes, sort of the Dogtown story, broken homes, single parents, not enough money, capitalism, no, real government structure that gives you enough, So all of those things, I think you're right. I think we were processing that stuff,
I mean, and in some ways it was a more innocent time in the sense that, like, my oldest son is 30. Most of the fights I know, isn't that a trip? Alright, 30. I know, I look that way, right? Not all, most of the fights and scuffles that we got into didn't result in death or permanent dismemberment.
Right.
And I say that not casually, but I mean it to
Right.
say I got in a lot of fights.
Yeah.
Long story. But nobody was, permanently damaged. Whereas fast forward into the 90s and kids were using guns and knives, whereas we were predominantly using fists. Were there circumstances that happen, like what you were talking about, yes. Were there services that I saw that were powerful, yes. But it is something that tends to escalate.
Right. And that's kind of what, so that's like, it's this weird thing, where you have, on the one hand, you have the Jocko Willink of the world. And those guys are, I come from a military, all of my family was in the military. My dad, my mom, and my dad was a career Marine and in the Army. So like, that's, some of that has probably rubbed off on me as well. But the question is, ultimately, where does it stop? So like, if I'm in a room of a bunch of violent people, I have a choice. He can say, surfers can be kind of territorial, they can say whatever they want. And usually, I just totally ignore them. And it just falls flat. It's called fighting. Bruce Lee talks about this. Fighting without rolling up your sleeves. There's a scene where there's a drunk guy on a boat, and he says, I do the fighting without fighting method. And he says, okay, and the guy challenges him, so he goes to a little island. The drunkard jumps off on the island, and he kicks the boat away, and he strands the guy in the middle of the ocean. And he says, bye, now you'll learn the art of the, fighting without fighting. So like, not that necessarily was the right way to do it, but I'm just saying it's an interesting skill set, right? So there are different ways for us. And as we got older, I think a lot of punks, we did find other ways to process it. Right? I think didn't a lot of, like now we don't just haul off and just punch somebody when they say something. No?
No, I do martial arts. I just quit drugs honestly like 10 years ago, and even to that point, fighting was part of it. I loved it. And even as I got older, I kind of missed that. I get.
You like the violent aspect? You just like
I don't mind being hit. It
Really?
kind of like, okay, cool.
Wow.
Yeah, but I love hitting people. Even if I'm almost 54 and it's still
hard.
yeah.
Yeah, there might also be, it is possible, like we talked about this, it's almost like it's possible that there is, like they're saying, like a violent gene, like the streak, violent streak everyone talks about. And, we are ultimately animals, right? So it's not like just because we become civilized, all these instincts suddenly disappear. Like you probably, like me, all of your family we were like an army caste, right? In India, they talk about the Kshatriya, right? Which is like a caste, and we're essentially, just like the bees have the worker bees and the fighting bees, right? Well, maybe there's a little bit of that as well in human beings. And because we're civilized, we're trained to try to squash it completely. And it doesn't just completely go away, right? It usually will find some way. You do martial arts, I do extreme sports, so like these are all the different ways, that we process that stuff, but hopefully not as many people will get hurt in the wake of that, right?
We'll bring on the music, and I
All
think
right,
we'll
thank you,
continue the
guys.
conversation.
So, books that I mentioned at the beginning, they're all available at the front register. Brenda will be signing at the back information desk. She was also kind enough to bring cookies and water and gum and other...
No beer.
No beer, unfortunately, but that's all at the back.
Next time there'll be beer.
Let's give it up for Brenda and all of our readers. Thank you very much.
All you guys
So we probably can hear it. They'll have
We'll have it.
So it just,